What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And what I have for you guys today is my review for Earl Sweatshirt's new album, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. Now, I've never really listened to a full Earl Sweatshirt project before because his style just was never really for me. But his album, Doris, is critically acclaimed, he has a lot of fans, and you guys have been asking me to review this, so this will be my first time really sinking my teeth into a full Earl Sweatshirt project. And I would say that this album is definitely not for the casual listener, because it doesn't have any commercial or mainstream sounds going on. And you also really have to dig into his lyrics in order to keep up on what he's expressing. Now, straight up, if any of you watching this are looking for some bangers and feel-good beats, this is not the album for you. This album has a very gloomy and depressing sound overall, and I wasn't fully able to appreciate that until I sat back and listened to it in my headphones. Because to me, this is not the type of album that I would blast in my car or listen to casually around the house. It's more like some brooding music. If you ever find yourself in one of those moods where you just want to be left alone, this album could be your soundtrack, because it feels like it was recorded in a dark, dingy basement with a light bulb swinging from the ceiling. Earl produced all of these tracks under the name Random Black Dude, except for Grown Ups, which was produced by Left Brain, and Off Top, which Left Brain and Earl both produced together. Now, the only track on here that feels even a little bit happy is the song Inside, and that's actually one of my favorite tracks on here. It also has some good bars on it, like when Earl spits that fame is the culprit who gives him drugs without owing cash. Or in other words, people give him drugs and feed his addiction because of who he is. And there is a lot of drug talk, addiction references, and dark personal stuff on this album. On Off Top, which features Dash, Earl touches on his father leaving him at a young age. And on Faucet, which is another one of my favorite tracks, there's a feeling of isolation as Earl spits that he doesn't know where to call home anymore and that he hopes his phone breaks so that people will just leave him alone. Then, on the song Huey, he mentions that he misses his grandmother over some organ production. And his grandmother comes up once again on the single Grief, where Earl says that thinking about her often leads him to wallowing in his pity and drinking alcohol. Earl also raps about his struggles with addiction and fraudulent people on Grief. And the last verse is slowed down to the point that it almost sounds like it's chopped and screwed, just a little bit. There's a very cool beat switch up at the end of this song too, and I wish he would have dropped some bars on it, but he just didn't. Also, Earl keeps the features to a minimum on here. AM/radio features Wiki from Rat King, and on DNA, which sounds like it was made with an evil toy piano, Nikel drops a verse. And Earl says on the hook that there ain't no bitch in his DNA. But the best feature to me is when Vince Staples joins Earl on the song Wool to share what he calls some Tales from the Crypt, which is obviously a play on the old TV show Tales from the Crypt and the fact that Vince is a Crip. This one has some very deep bass and piano keys on it, and Earl really shows off his flow. And he also spits that he's difficult to beat like a soft dick, which would be pretty damn difficult. Not that I know from experience. I would never touch myself. But to wrap things up here, I can understand why some people might not be down with Earl Sweatshirt, because the beats on here are very dull, and Earl can sound very dry and monotone at times, much like myself. But one thing is that you cannot front on his bars, because he drops some gems on this album. Like on Mantra, when he spits with confidence, my name is getting bigger than the difference between us, niggas is fake, I limit the features I give them. Which doesn't sound good when I just say it like that, but it's dope on the song, trust me. That's why he's the rapper, and I'm not. But there are just great lines and moments of introspection and dreadful honesty all through this album. So if you're a fan of lyrics and you're looking for something that's a little bit dark and gloomy, you definitely want to check this one out. And I give it a 3.5 out of 5. If you're not an Earl fan like me and you just casually skim this album, you're definitely not going to be able to appreciate it. But if you really dive into it and let the content and the overall feel of the album wash over you, it's actually pretty damn good. And this album is the perfect example of why I like to listen to projects over and over before I review them. Because on the first listen, I wasn't really feeling this at all, but the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me. But that's just what I thought about Earl Sweatshirt's new album, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. You guys hit me up in the comments section and let me know what you think. And as usual, do all that other good YouTube and social media stuff where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and you especially subscribe to my channel. I'm close to 3,000, so thank you everybody. I'll see you next time.